When you ask most people to think of porcelain, you probably think of something like these blue and white objects. But what exactly is blue and white, and what does it have to do with Danish ceramics? The story begins in China. By the 1300s, thanks in part to trade networks established by the Mongol conquest of China and Persia, blue and white porcelain works were on the rise. The mining town of Jingdezhen discovered huge deposits of kaolinite, the key ingredient to create pure white porcelain. This, combined with cobalt imported from eastern Persia, resulted in some truly spectacular blue and white patterns. In the 1500s, as Portuguese merchants first arrived at the port of Guangzhou, they were staggered by the variety of porcelain on view. The wares they brought back, including porcelain, kick-started an arms race. Every power in Europe founded their own trading company to get some of those sweet, sweet Chinese plates, and studios across Europe raced to discover the secret for themselves. While porcelain-like substances, now known collectively as soft-paste porcelain, were able to be made pretty quickly, they didn't discover the secrets to true porcelain until the 1700s. The first studio to do so, Meissen, made the first hard-paste porcelain in Europe in 1703. They quickly produced many series, including this blue onion pattern. Fun fact, these shapes around the outside are not onions, or indeed any German plant. This is riffing on the Chinese design that featured pomegranates. Danish porcelain owes particular influence to Dutch Delft ware. These pieces, while spectacular blue and white, are actually not porcelain, but they are the best porcelain imitators in the world at this time. The Netherlands and Denmark had very close ties in this period, and so it's not really a surprise that they overlap artistically as well. The first Danish porcelain was released in 1775, and is this pattern right here, known as blue mussel. This is the original Royal Copenhagen pattern. Since its original release, it has been in continuous production for 250 years. Unlike the blue onion pattern, you can't identify any particular Chinese example that this is modeled on, but that doesn't mean the Chinese influence isn't there. Chinese porcelain was imported into Denmark in this period through the Danish Asiatic Company, and in fact, Chinese porcelain was exempt from an import ban issued in 1790 by King Christian VII. Danish porcelain would not just copy Chinese designs forever, though. By 1895, the industrialization of the porcelain process meant that high-quality plates could be very consistently produced. The lead artist at the studio Bing Grøndal, Frans Holland, decided that blue and white would make an excellent palette for a holiday plate. He issued this one in 1895, and it was a smash hit. Royal Copenhagen began releasing their competitor series in 1908, and the two continue to release plates every year to this day. Add into this Mother's Day plates, special commemorations, anniversaries, the 200th anniversary of America, etc., and you end up with a truly astounding array of very small blue and white plates. It is hard, in truth, to overstate the impact of Danish blue and white porcelain. Studios across Europe would begin issuing their own Christmas plates throughout the early 20th century. But as early as 1803, European elites were recognizing Royal Copenhagen as one of the finest porcelain makers in the world. This perennial popularity effectively funded a lot of the more artistic endeavors at these large studios. It's hard to imagine these gorgeous crystalline glazed, highly experimental vases being made if it weren't for the sale of blue and white porcelain buoying the entire company to allow that. And so, even though we collect in ways that move beyond blue and white in many ways, it is worth remembering that while Denmark may not have been the first or the only country to produce blue and white porcelain, the innovations they put on it are truly iconic.